Hi, it's Mrs. B
and Auntie. We're laughing because, I'm trying to fix this side of my hair, but my hand goes over here when I'm looking over here, and it's different than a mirror. So if we seem discombobbled, that's kind of, it's so different.
My hair's sticking out. I'm like, oh no, and I keep going to the wrong side. Sorry about that.
That was a little fit. We're having coffee.
Oh, yes.
With Auntie.
And Mrs. B.
Mrs. B and Auntie.
And that's all that's in here is coffee.
That's just coffee.
Well, I do have creamers.
You do? Yeah, I'm taking mine straight. I don't know why we even drink coffee, do you? Do you like it? You like it?
Yes, I do. Even black. I like black coffee.
I like black coffee, but there are some days you're just like, why? But that's another story. So, what are we up to today?
Well, we had said that, what was that video we watched? The one where the young girl and boy were in.
Oh, yeah. Where they made us think of when we were teenagers and flirting and stuff. And
anyway, we're gonna tell y'all about some of our antics when we were teenagers.
Yes, we're teenagers.
But first, we're going to just kind of check in on each other. We don't live close to one another.
Mm-hmm.
About an hour apart, driving time.
Yeah.
And so we only get together we've been trying to get together once a week.
Yeah.
So just for you.
That's kind of a lot, but
for us it is.
We did have you had a sewing project where we saw each other almost every day, and we got kind of spoiled.
Yes.
I got pretty spoiled.
Yeah, but you hit a deer.
I know.
It was rather costly for her. She ended up having
Instead
to
of Grandma getting run over by a reindeer, Grandma ran over.
You have to speak up. You can't mumble.
I can't mumble. I ran over the deer. The deer didn't run over Grandma.
Thankfully, she wasn't hurt. The deer was, but she wasn't. Well,
I don't know. I never found
either the deer got up and ran away, and died somewhere else, probably.
Yeah.
Or it might have died and somebody picked it up off the side of the road.
Really
roadkill.
Yeah, that's true.
People do that. I mean, I don't think they're supposed to do that though.
It's really weird because it came in front of me. This backward thing is getting came right in front of me. I saw his head and his antlers, and I'm like that, and then all of a sudden he is gone. And all down the side of my car was poop. And I thought, but the whole car was, and I thought, well, did he didn't go over the top because the top wasn't messed up. It's just that side. So I think he just kind of hit there and just kind of skedaddled behind me. So,
But she ended up having to get a new car from coming down to see me.
We're to sew together. It was fun.
Yes.
She's a really good seamstress, and I've learned a whole lot from her.
You learned a whole lot of what not to do.
Well, I had like 2 months in the 9th grade on sewing, so...
Well, you did.
That maybe 6 weeks is all.
You had your mother.
Yeah, but she had a sewing machine that all it would go is as fast as a serger, and you go. So I never learned how to really be precise, and when I went to home ec, the teacher didn't really like me touching the school sewing machines because I would put the pedal to the metal. And they'd come in there and they said, "What are you doing?" All these other little girls, like in 8th grade, were going, and I'm going like a serger.
They probably had never sewn, and they're afraid they would get their fingers.
Yeah.
And you weren't.
No. I should have been more afraid.
You had too much experience, probably. And I didn't take home ec.
Oh.
I never took home ec.
Yeah.
My mother taught me to sew, and then I taught myself more later on.
Well, one semester was all of home ec I took. And half of the semester was cooking and the other half was sewing, and you can kind of tell.
Oh, well, you can tell I didn't take either one.
My mama, she had never heard of an omelet before, and I came in and I was like, I'm going to tell you what. She thought I turned into a little smarty like
She did.
I did. Anyway, but as far as our flirting.
Yes, you got to realize we lived close together.
Yeah. For a long time. I remember, were you 8 or 9 when you guys moved to my hometown, and we all went to church together. You were 9, I was 10, and your sister was 12. And our mamas got together and sewed us some pretty Easter dresses.
Speaking of sewing.
Yes, and they were light green with like
and they all
4 or
matched.
5 rows of lace. Remember that?
Yes.
And they were bell sleeves.
Yes.
And we had white shoes and anklet socks and white purses
Yes.
and probably
Had
pearls
some
and everything.
some little hat. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
gloves, the whole 9
where
yards.
we get our love for hats. But
Yes.
yes, they were all identical.
Yes, and we not only wore those
We still do
Yes,
that.
yes.
We don't
Have to
dress
show you.
alike when we go out. Yeah, mine's the
She
same.
designed these and did them.
Hers is pink and mine is purple. I don't know if you can tell that in the
says
video,
Jesus.
but
It's kind of a. Well.
yeah.
Anyway.
I didn't design. The design was made by somebody else,
Oh,
but
okay.
I just put them on the shirts.
Oh, okay.
I can't take credit for that.
Okay.
There's a lot of that out there, so I can't take credit.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead with your story.
Well, anyway, we were little girls, ages 9 to 12, or 8 to 12, and our town had what they would call Sunday singing, and that would be like the third Sunday of the month or something, every third Sunday. Everybody that ever sang a special or a solo or whatever in church would show up at a church, and they'd spend an hour, everybody taking turns singing. So we showed up in our dresses, and we always sang the same song every month that we went. even if her big sister Teresa and I went alone, I don't know why you weren't there that one time. We'd sing that song, and there was a feature part of it that all of us really wanted to sing. And the song was Where We'll Never Grow Old. And there was a part where you'd hold the old, and the other person, one person would get to say, Where we'll never grow old. And like that. But Teresa always, because she was the oldest, and she was the star, and she was a good singer.
And she was a lot more extroverted
Yes.
than us.
Yes, we were shy.
It's hard to
Believe it
tell
or
that
not.
we were shy. My family can't hardly believe that I was shy.
Yeah.
But I was.
Well, I think
we were
they're
both
surprised
very
that
shy.
you're doing a YouTube channel.
They're very surprised. I'm very surprised.
Well, one Sunday, one of these sing-along Sundays, Mrs. B wasn't with us. And I decided that we were going to go, and so Teresa and I put on our green dresses and our white shoes and all the get up and got on my bicycle. And I was driving the bicycle, and I was pumping her. They had like a flat thing on the back of the bike where she could sit, and she was sitting side saddle so she wouldn't mess up, And I was driving along, like the old lady on The Wizard of Oz. I was just pumping those. And I come up on the railroad track, and we go, bam! And we got our knees scuffed up so bad, and we got up and we're like, "Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? I'm okay." So it's, go ahead and sing. Yeah, we gotta sing. So we show up with bloody knees and sing "Where We'll Never Grow Old," and Teresa still got to sing "Where We'll." Well, fast forward a few years, Mrs. B and I were teenagers. You were 14. I was 15. And her dad got sent to Pennsylvania for work.
Yes, we were working. I don't know if you've ever heard of the company Ray's Drilling, and they drilled escape and ventilation shafts out of the coal mines. It was really interesting coming from Texas to go up there.
Instead of drilling for oil, they drilled down and then got a hold of a bit and drilled up with it and made a ventilation shaft.
So anyway, we moved up there. I think we were probably there around 6 months is all. Mm-hmm. And you came to visit.
Yeah, we came to visit. And
if you haven't seen us before, Auntie is my aunt, obviously. And her and my grandma and grandpa came up to visit.
Yeah. And her mama and my mom and daddy decided we was all going to go sightseeing. So we went to Washington, D.C. We went to Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls looks a lot different now than it did then. When we went in the 70s, it was like a beautiful park. It didn't look like the Vegas Strip.
This was actually in 1971.
Yeah.
It was in 1971. Oh, we're telling our age for sure.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's no big deal.
And we were, walking through this park, and we'd see these really good-looking guys.
This was at Niagara Falls.
At Niagara Falls, and really nice-looking guys, and we'd be like, and then we'd look, and here would come a girl, and we'd think, oh.
Yeah, but every once in a while, one of them gets hit.
Yeah.
And it was our fault.
And we were real flirty, but
our parents told us later, they're on their honeymoon. You shouldn't be doing that.
I hadn't realized that Niagara Falls was a honeymoon place,
We were just young girls.
Yeah, we were just really
big flirts. We had bought these wigs that were called the lioness.
Yeah.
They're all curly and stuff. And hers, she always had real dark hair. And I had more of a
blonde.
A blondish golden color. So we got the wigs that matched our own hair color. And we had these skirts. They were midi skirts at that time. They hit the ground, your ankles. And
maxi skirts.
Yeah, that would be maxi. Not midi was
below your knee. Yeah.
And we would go in another room, of course, and change clothes. And I would put on her stuff, and she put on my stuff. So we always confused our parents. They'd be getting on to us.
We were about the exact same size and about mannerisms, everything. And my mom would get on to Mrs. B and say, "Stop that!" And then she'd look at her and she goes, Oh.
They get so aggravated. They did. They got so aggravated.
But we like to play the switcheroo all the time.
Yeah. If we'd been twins, we'd been...
We'd have had a lot of fun.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. We'd have been in more trouble than we actually got into.
We also went, when we were at Washington, D.C., her dad, my grandfather, was driving. What was that called? A
Suburban.
It was a Suburban.
And we had taken out the seats in the back so that we could lay a bed down there and have the bed there all the time.
You got to realize there was 4 adults and 2 girls. That's all that was in the Suburban.
But we had a bed back there, so there wasn't really room for the bench seat that went in the back. So we put in folding chairs,
lawn chairs.
And we were sitting.
We were the Beverly Hillbillies,
and we had, I think, 3 lawn chairs across the back, and we had the windows down. The air conditioner wasn't working too good, And
They had air conditioner? I didn't have air conditioner when I got married. I'm sorry.
Maybe
I'm
we
sorry.
didn't have air conditioning.
I don't think there was
then.
air conditioning.
But the windows were down, and we were in downtown Washington, D.C.
Oh, your dad got stuck on that.
Yeah, we kept going the roundabout over and
we
over.
We were on the
very same horse.
Inside, the very inside lane. And it seems like there was at least four lanes. And we needed to turn right. Mm-hmm. But Grandpa couldn't get over. Mm-hmm. And so we just kind of kept going in circles.
So I don't know whose idea it was that we would open up the lunch basket.
Probably my mother's. And
so she starts digging in the lunch basket, and she holds up this banana. We're stopped at a stoplight. Yeah. And she goes...
She turns to... She's sitting on the passenger door, and she turns with her window down.
He goes, who wants a banana? And there's a taxi driver sitting there, and he's like...
I don't want a banana. What are you banana? We just, I don't know. It may not be that funny
laughed.
to y'all.
Oh my goodness, because the guy was startled. He didn't expect to see people sitting up that high. And offering him food. And then us trying to eat lunch while we were on a roundabout.
And then an ambulance came.
Oh yeah.
And the police were directing traffic and tried to get Grandpa to turn right. From the very inside lane, left side lane.
Yeah,
it was a mess.
He was, like in his 60s. He's a little more harder hearing than we are in our 60s. Shut up. And he was not used to traffic at all, because where we live, there's not a lot of traffic.
7,000 people at the most.
Yeah, and there's like stoplights and stuff, but there's just not a whole lot of lanes and stuff. So he didn't like big towns and all that stuff. And
I thought we were going to get killed.
I did too.
I thought we were going to cause somebody else to die because we couldn't get out of the way of the ambulance.
Yeah, we were nervous, but somehow we made it.
Another thing happened while we were there. Not at Washington, D.C., but while she came to visit us in Pennsylvania, we went horseback riding.
Yeah, we always felt like we had an inner cowgirl, but I think that was a misconception on my part. I always wanted to be a cowgirl.
Another thing, if you don't know, Auntie's an author, and she has quite the imagination for her books. But anyway,
but they didn't pan out in real life.
we our mothers took us horseback riding, and it was just the two of us that rode. Our mothers didn't want to ride.
No.
And my horse would not go. They had practically to drag it to make it go. Her horse, on the other hand, was very good at first. At first,
and the guide was very cute.
Yes, once again,
and we didn't know. We noticed at the very end of the deal that he was married.
I didn't even remember.
Yeah,
at 14 and 15, you don't even look at that.
No, you don't look.
He looked young.
Yeah,
and anyway,
he was kind of annoyed to take us on that ride. Do you think?
I didn't think at first.
After a while, after all the giggling and all
so we take off
whatnot,
riding up this mountain, and
we start back.
Yeah, that's where the trouble was. Well, the first though, my horse would not go. I was so jealous because her horse just trotted along.
It wanted to follow the guy.
My horse wanted to stay back in the stables and eat, I think.
Probably.
Or sleep, I don't know.
Probably.
So anyway, we finally get to the top of the mountain and have to turn around and go back down. My horse still won't do a thing. And we get to the top of that mountain and that other horse she's on just takes off.
It took off with me.
It wanted to get back.
I was hanging on for dear life, and I thought, this cannot end well.
And I'm like, go, go.
And the guy is chasing after me. And he's like this, and I thought, this is so romantic. He's going to just sweep me into his arms and save my life. No. He gets his horse and just stops it in front of mine, and I'm like, you're crazy. We're going to run into The horse stopped in time.
It was funny because I thought the same thing.
You
It
did?
took him a little bit to catch her, and I thought, oh, he's going to go up there, he's going to grab her and pull her off the horse onto his horse, and all that. But
We've
no,
seen too
that's
many
it.
movies.
Yeah, we watched westerns all the time when we were kids because of our parents. But, yeah, that was funny, and she was so mad. I was mad.
I was
because
embarrassed.
my horse wouldn't do anything. She was mad because he wasn't
romantic.
He
risked my life to save me. And our parents were sitting there going, those girls, we should have known better. I don't really know what they thought of us. What did they think of us? Did your mom ever talk to you about us?
I don't remember asking.
You didn't get a lecture about...
I'm sure I did.
About not hanging out with Elaine?
Oh, no. I'm sure you got told not to hang out with me.
No, I think Mom was just kind of glad to have me occupied. I was a jumpy little girl.
There were locations out in the woods where they were doing the escape and ventilation shafts, and my parents decided that they would teach me to drive. I already knew how to drive a standard. Well, they bought a Volkswagen while we were there.
Well, you knew how to drive an automatic.
I said standard, didn't I?
Yeah, and then you had to learn how to do the standard.
I knew the automatic.
The gears.
But I learned. I didn't
know how to do
it. It took me a little bit to learn, but I learned. And that's what I drove. I didn't get to drive on roads, streets, but while we were on location, they'd let me practice driving that Volkswagen. Mm-hmm. And I'd go up this hill. Well, I guess it's a hill. It was a pretty steep hill.
Yeah.
And I'd come back down and stuff. Well, when she came to visit, I decided, little Miss 14-year-old decided to teach Auntie how to drive a stick shift.
Oh, no.
Up a mountain, not down, not on flat land, because I didn't want the parents knowing I was teaching her, I guess. I don't know.
We did make it up the hill.
Well,
after
eventually, what would happen was we would go up, going up, and then she'd go to change gears to go up higher, and back down we would go because she couldn't change gears
fast enough,
quick enough to go up. So our parents did know you were doing that because they said they'd watch those lights.
Yeah,
they go up and then they come back down because you must have been keeping your foot on the brake. Because how else would they see those?
Yeah. Well, we finally made it to the top of the hill, and it was.
I thought we were going to hit trees going back because she wasn't real good at guiding.
No, I wasn't. And there was a airplane landing strip.
Mm-hmm. It just one of those little country ones.
It's like, yay, flat land.
But it wasn't.
So excited.
It wasn't paved. It was dirt.
It was just grass.
Yes, it was grass. Yes, but it was big enough for us to have some fun.
Yeah, and so Mrs. B would sit on top of the Volkswagen.
I was not the only one. First of all, we would just drive and do donuts and stuff. And then we got to where we hung on to the outside back of the Volkswagen
and I'd try to throw her off.
I couldn't remember if you ever rode on the back.
I don't think I ever did.
What about the side on the outside?
I don't know if I ever
sat
did
in the window.
No.
Oh, she acts like she's all innocent. She's not.
I was the one trying to kill you, I think. Not really. That word "kill" would get us in trouble.
We did that a lot. We had so much fun up there.
We had fun.
We were up there one day playing around like that, and a plane came to land.
We had to hurry and leave.
We were in the way. We had to get out of the way.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that. Of course, I enjoyed it. I was a risk taker back then.
And one brother was there with you, but your sister wasn't there, so you were kind of missing all of your family. You had two brothers and a sister when you were back in Oklahoma. So, and they were always around. And then here you were off in Pennsylvania, the only kid.
Well, they're quite a bit older than me.
Yeah.
And my sister Teresa, she's the closest to me, and she had already gotten married.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and then her brother, Dennis, was so funny because we'd all go, one thing I discovered in Pennsylvania.
What's that?
And then we loved it, remember? We went to this restaurant and would always get a great big tall ice cream hot fudge sundae. I'd never seen a hot fudge sundae before that. And I think I could have probably ate them till I was 100 pounds overweight because I loved them so much. Woo.
Well, for one thing, they have so many dairy farms and stuff up there. It was, I think we were more used to cattle ranches and stuff, not so much dairy. So I think it was fresher.
Yeah,
it was just so good. We fell in love with it.
Yeah. And they had the counter was set up where you could watch them make it and everything. And
that's where I discovered strawberry pie.
Oh,
Mom and I
and Donna like
fresh strawberry pie, and we would go. We found this place and we saw one, so we bought one, took it home, and there was me, my mom, my dad, my brother, and one of his friends living there. So we were going to have it for dessert. Well, we decided we had to have a taste of this strawberry pie before they came home. Me and my mom, and we ate the whole thing. We went back, bought two more strawberry pies. So the ice cream and the strawberry pies were a big deal.
You know, you're saying I'm a lot like your mama about that kind of thing, probably.
Probably. Another thing we, what was it? I was going to say, we discovered more, probably Italian food up there.
Oh, yeah.
That we had not had before and stuff.
That year, we didn't even have a Pizza Hut in my hometown.
Do you know that...
So we never had pizza either.
We went to a restaurant. My mom and dad and I went to a restaurant. Well, kind of happened all the time. You go somewhere and you'd ask, we'd just order tea. Mm-hmm. Well, they bring us hot tea. Well, we never had hot tea. It was always iced tea, and they couldn't understand us when we say iced tea. We had too much a southern accent.
Terry and I were walking. I didn't. We were in New York City. We came in on the train, and I said to him, now, don't act like you've never been here before, because they're going to pick us out. We're going to get robbed. We didn't have any money, and we thought they'd kill us because we didn't have money. So I said, just be cool. So we come out of Penn Station, climb up those stairs up to ground level, and Terry gets up to the sidewalk, and he goes, golly! Golly! Like this, looking at the top of buildings, and I go, don't do that. And he goes, well, this is way before the World Trade Center thing and everything. So he goes, I got to see the World Trade Center. I never heard of it before.
He doesn't sound exactly like that, but he does talk slow.
Yeah. And he goes, let's take a taxi. And I said, no, I'm scared of taxis. We'll just walk. We walked for blocks and blocks. We stopped at noon in a street side cafe, and Terry asked for iced tea, and the lady acted offended.
Oh.
At the way he said ice. She thought he said something else, and he said, cold tea. And she goes, cold tea? He said with ice in it. And so she's like, oh, okay. So she gave us hot tea with a glass of ice.
Oh.
Yeah, like that's going to work. And anyway,
just water down your teeth.
Yeah. So we rode up the elevator on one of the towers, whichever one was the one for tourists to look off of and stuff. And
I never got to see them before.
yeah, but that was, we're such hicks. We took a tour bus, and they said, "Where's everybody from?" And we thought being from Texas was probably a big deal. Nobody was very interested. There are people from Sweden there, and we were like, "Golly!" Anyway, had to ride an electric train to the little town my son lives in.
I have not been. Let me see. When I was a child, we went to Mexico and we went to Canada. Other than that, I've not been out of the States. So, someone from far away, like Maine or even New York, Pennsylvania, that's a long ways to us.
They're amazing.
Now we've been all over. My dad and my dad and my family, we have been almost. I think we've been to every state.
Just about, probably.
My dad he didn't stop and sightsee, so we just drove straight through.
Our dads were not tourists. Roadside interest stuff, no.
Just hurry up and get there.
Not unless there's a canyon or something like that. Our moms could get them to stop and look at a canyon. There's a noise in the room.
I hope you'll excuse. You heard the grandfather clock going off a minute ago, and what scared you just now? There's some cats in a bed in a room. I left the door open so they could get out. So what they're doing, I have no idea. We locked them in that room all day yesterday while we were gone. Didn't know it.
Oh, Terry and our son and I were going to Niagara Falls when we were out visiting him because he lives up by New York City, but he's on his way home for the summer. And our son drove through the checkpoint at Canada, and they stopped us at the line, and they said, "Texas, you got guns?" And Terry goes, "At home." And so they said, "Pull over." And they were doing a search. So I didn't want to wait, so I jumped in the car with my son, and we drove and found the parking spot. And I guess they kept Terry there a long time. And we like to never found each other. He was not a happy camper. No, he wasn't.
My brother-in-law took a camper up there, and he didn't think he had any guns or anything with him, and he did.
Oh, no.
And so they confiscated the guns, and they took them, and it was a mess. It was a real mess. And I think it was I don't know if it was more than one. It seems like there was more than one, but they were given to him by his father. They were antique. I don't even know that they worked, but they
kept
confiscated them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what Terry said to me today? He said, "We need to go camping." And I said, Didn't you fix the, winterized camper?" He says, "Well, I've heard of this really nice place in South Carolina where they have beautiful water and all this stuff, and we just need to camp there." And I said, and he looked a little weird when you saying it. And I said, "Are you talking about Camp Lejeune?"
There he goes again.
He just keeps, that horse won't die. He keeps beating that dead horse.
Did he enjoy my text?
Yes.
I had to give him a hard time about that.
He brings up Camp Lejeune in one way or another every stinking day on Facebook. Or in person.
Well, I think we've been on here about 30 minutes or so.
Oh, sorry.
So we told our Pennsylvania stories, basically.
Yes.
And
as for Jan Krebs, she's always talking about me needing bubble wrap. I needed it back when I was driving the bicycle too. So I've always, my whole life, needed bubble wrap.
Yes.
So
Yes, you have. And there was something I wanted to discuss real quick.
Okay.
That Marcietto Pomoy.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't heard him, he's very, very good. He was on America's Got Talent, and I know he's famous since then. But I can't remember. Gene, someone recommended that we listen to him. But what they also told us that he was raised on the streets. I don't know if he was an orphan or what, but he was raised on the streets.
He raised himself,
and he taught himself
from age 8.
And he taught himself to sing.
How to sing.
That is amazing. And he
has a great voice.
It's crazy, his range.
We need to look up that girl that they said sings like Karen Carpenter. And she's from the Philippines?
I think they're both from the Philippines.
Okay.
So we appreciate all our subscribers from the Philippines as well as for the United States. And we have, I know one lady said she's from Belgium.
Oh, wow.
I think it's a lady. I'm sorry if I'm wrong.
Someone from Belgium subscribed.
Yes. And hey, that would be a cool thing.
We'd like to know, like, where you're from and something special about where you live.
We are probably going to get behind on all our
we're
comments because it was kind of slow, and it's really picked up a lot for us, and we both have other lives going on. I've been so busy
behind
lately.
on your sewing, aren't you?
You're not supposed to say that.
Sorry.
Yes, there's more to these videos than a person would think.
Yes, you're our technical squad.
Yeah.
I'm not technical at all.
Yeah.
I just look at it and it makes no sense.
Well, you've been replying to comments more.
I've been trying to, but I think, she says it so nice, sometimes I just put a like.
No. You need to talk to these people.
I need to talk to people. Okay.
I only do because I think we should.
She's always so sweet. She's the sweetest thing you've ever met.
You are. Anyway, that's enough of that.
We like to do this because we like to get together and talk.
Yeah.
We like to talk.
We're just two old women that like to laugh. We want to laugh.
We like to laugh.
We want to laugh and have fun. But we're going to record some more reactions, so be on the look out for them, and share our chat, our coffee time, because it's not grown much at all. People don't want to sit through this for sure, evidently. So
my granddaughter said content is everything. Whatever that means.
Bye. We'll see you later.